thinking it causes me distress in my imprisonment. What then? Only that in every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is proclaimed. Say, wow. Wow. Now that strikes me as compelling. Paul says, you know what? A person, let me put it this way. Can I submit to you that both of those spirits are alive and well in the church? Can I even maybe say that maybe some of the ones, and this is just pointing to a spirit, but I think some of the ones that have been the most vocal, the ones that have had the most platforms, maybe have been some of those preaching from selfish ambition. And I think the little hidden company right now, the ones that, I'm not saying because a person has a huge platform that they're false. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that when I begin to listen to what they're preaching, is somewhat different from what I'm hearing coming from the Holy Spirit today. In other words, the relevance of the issues they're addressing are not the issues you're going to hear here this morning. They're not the issues of what it means to become a mature son of God that rattles the world and doing the greater works. It's not about the bride of Christ presenting herself without spot or wrinkle and entering into this union experience with the Messiah where they become one with Him and share, spirit, soul, and body. You don't hear that coming from that kind of a platform. You don't hear these challenging messages that it's not okay to live wrong. That it's not okay to have, same-sex marriages or, it's not, whatever, all these things. 3 things are being challenged today, I believe. I believe if we come out of this session with the determination, we've got to pick our battles. I don't want to fight every battle. I've learned that long ago. There are a lot of issues that I'm not called to fight. But I am going to draw the line on some. One of them is the exclusivity of Christ. Listen, there's no other way. Non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Jesus is the way, period. Everything else is counterfeit. Everything else, I've said that on television before. Everything else, Buddha, Hinduism, Allah, is all counterfeit. It's a deception. The Bible tells us in Revelation chapter 3 that deception is one of the spirits of this age. It says you think that you're rich and increased in goods, having need of nothing, but you're wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. That's a sad state of it. In other words, Lord, give us eyes to see our true condition. I don't want to be deceived. I want somebody, I've lost my friend Bob Jones because let me tell you something. Bob would not hesitate to pick up the phone and say, all right, boy. I remember one time, this is a true story. And my little sweet wife, she's the sweetest little lady in the world. And we used to use prophetic as an excuse to be, vacillating in our personality, but it's just a bad excuse. But anyway, we'd had a little something, and I woke up one night. I literally woke up and I saw Bob Jones standing at the doorway. And it was so real, literally, I physically got out of bed. Got out of bed. I was walking, I'm thinking, what is Bob doing here? And as I walked about maybe 3 feet from my bed to the door, it went away. Well, guess who I got a phone call from the next morning? He said, are you treating Wanda okay? True story. And I thought, okay, I better be careful. I like having that. I like that safety net. My prayer is, Lord, raise up fathers that'll look into the lives of people. And don't you want somebody, now, you might say, well, that was an intrusion on Bob's part. It was not. I gave him permission. I gave Bob permission to speak into my life anytime, anywhere that he wanted to. And he took me up on that offer quite often. But we're going to have this debate on the exclusivity of Christ. I was watching a clip, I had read this story, obviously, you can't believe everything you read on the internet, even among the Christian circles. But I watched a video clip of one of the largest churches in another nation of the earth. I listened to it myself. I listened to the whole clip of the sermon, about 15 minutes portion of the sermon. And this man said, the Jehovah of the Old Testament and Allah are one and the same. I heard him say it. One of the 35,000 member churches. Now they've come back and he retracted it. He said, it was taken out of context. I didn't mean what I said.